Hello everyone, my name is Liz and today I have a lower body strength workout for you focused on the glutes. We're going to get started with a 5-minute warm-up. We'll follow this with 2 trisets twice through, 1 superset twice through, and then we'll finish with a round of glute bridges before we head into a brief cool down and stretch. We'll get started with that warm-up first. Exercise number 1 is just going to be some slow butt kickers. Next, we're moving into a high knee march, pulling one knee up at a time, squeezing in the core, getting those knees up nice and high, flexing through the feet to wake up through the ankles. Next, we have a slow side leg raise on the right leg. Make sure you keep your hips, knees, and toes all pointed forward here. We don't want to open up through the hip and turn the toes to face the ceiling as we lift that leg. So we're targeting the outside thigh and the outer glutes. Switch sides. Don't forget to pull in that core for balance here. Next, we'll step the feet nice and wide and move back and forth for an alternating side lunge. Make sure you sit the hips back into the heels. Keep that spine nice and flat as you come forward. Still bracing that core, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears. Waking up through the legs and stretching through the inner thighs here as well. Keeping the legs wide, we'll move into an overhead reach. Take a deep breath in, reach up to the sky, look up at the ceiling, and then a long breath out to dive all the way down into a forward fold. Keep a little bend in the knees if your hamstrings are tight, but we're getting a nice stretch all through the backs of the legs and the inner thighs here, as well as a little release for the lower back as we fold down. Next, we'll move into a basic hip hinge. Feet are about shoulder width apart, hands on your hips. Break in half as you send the glutes back and bring the chest forward. Once your upper body is as close to parallel with the floor as can be, squeeze through those glutes to drive the hips forward and stand back up. Make sure to keep that nice neutral spine and pull the core in here. Next, we have an alternating reverse lunge with raised arms. So we'll step back for a lunge as we bring those arms up overhead, keeping the shoulders down, keeping the core strong, leading with that front glute to come forward. Push down through that front heel, squeeze the glutes to stand. Finishing the warm-up by inchworming out to a high plank, so walking on those hands out to a high plank position, and then sending the hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Equal weight between all 4 points of contact, relax through the head and neck, and pedal out the heels to stretch a little bit more through the calves if that feels good for you. Then we'll slowly walk the feet up to the hands, Find that forward fold and slowly roll our way all the way up to the top. All right, everybody, that is your warm-up, getting ready for your first try set. We're going to be starting with a nice heavy squat. For reference, I'm grabbing two 25-pound dumbbells. You can use whatever works for you in this moment. Prop those weights up at the shoulders, feet about shoulder width apart, and we'll do 10 squats here, taking it nice and slow. Inhaling on the lower, exhaling on the lift, pulling that core in every time you stand up. Make sure those joints are aligned, knees going over the toes. That's halfway. We have 5 more reps. There's 10. Moving on to our second exercise, which is a single leg deadlift. So prop those weights in front of your working leg. The other leg is back as a kickstand as you hinge forward for a deadlift motion with all the weight on that focused working leg. Keep the spine nice and neutral, applying all the same rules as in a standard deadlift, just focusing on one side. There's halfway, 5 more. Just 2 more before we hit that 10. Take your time here, make sure you're lifting nice and heavy. Moving on to exercise 3, which is going to be a kickback on the same leg you just worked in your deadlift. So you're going to kick that heel up to the sky, squeezing in the glutes, slowly come down and repeat, keeping the core engaged, moving with a slow and controlled motion here. I'm working the right leg because that's the same as my deadlift side. That's halfway, just 5 more reps before we move into pulses. Last one. Now bring that leg all the way back up to the top of the range of motion for 10 slow and controlled pulses, still bracing through that core. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Quick little breather here. Then we're going to head back to the top to repeat this tri-set on the opposite leg. All right, getting ready for round 2. We are grabbing those dumbbells to head all the way back to that heavy squat. Again, make sure you're challenging yourself here. If the first set felt easy, go ahead and lift a little heavier. If you are really struggling and starting to lose form by the end of that 10, go a little lighter. Here we go. 10 reps. Halfway point, 5 more. Keep pulling in the core, keep that chest open. Last one. and let that go, moving right into your single leg deadlifts on the opposite side. Again, focusing all that weight on the working leg, hinging at the hips to send them back, keeping the shoulders back, keeping the dumbbells nice and close to your legs. You should really be feeling it in that working glute. Again, if you're not quite feeling that burn, maybe try lifting a little heavier, as long as you can keep solid form. There's your halfway point, 5 more. Nicely done. Drop those weights. We'll head right into those kickbacks, again on the same side you just did those single leg deadlifts. Coming down to the forearms, bracing the core. Here we go, 10 reps. There's halfway, 5 more before we do those pulses. Last one here. And then prop that leg back up. Do those 10 slow controlled pulses, keeping the core braced. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and have a rest. All right, that is the end of our first couple of sets of trisets. Next, we're going to be heading to some new movements. We'll take a little breather here first, stretch it out. Then we'll be heading into a standard deadlift on both legs to get started. All right, grab those dumbbells. Standing with the feet about shoulder width apart, just a micro bend in the knees. Weights nice and close to the legs. Inhale, hinge to lower. Exhale, squeeze to lift. Again, we have 10 reps here. There's your halfway point, 5 more. Try to keep the tension on those glutes throughout the entire interval. Last one. Nicely done. Next, we are moving into a reverse lunge squat combo on one leg. So grab that weight, hold it at your chest, whatever weight is challenging for you. We're going to start with one squat, then step back with the right leg for a reverse lunge. Then bring that leg right back to a squat and repeat right back to a lunge. There's 2 reps, we're doing 10 here. Try to keep the tension on the legs throughout the entire range of motion. Never stand fully up unless you really need a rest, but try and hop right back into that motion as soon as you can. Almost through here, just a few more reps. One more reverse lunge. And let that go. Set that weight aside for our third exercise in this tri-set, we're gonna head down to the floor for a single leg bridge on that leg we just worked. So right leg is up in the air. We're going to be bridging as normal, but only pressing up with that right side, squeezing through the right glutes and hamstrings, pressing down through the right heel. I'm propping my head up here. I find it helps me keep a more neutral spine. If that works for you, go right ahead. If you'd rather keep your head on the floor, that's fine too. Just make sure you're not arching in the lower back as you lift into this bridge. Just 3 more reps before we rest. And let that relax. All right, that is round 1 of tri-set number 2. Quick breather, and then we'll repeat this on the opposite side. All right, it's time for round 2. We are heading all the way back to that standard deadlift. So grab that weight that works for you. Again, adjust as needed. In 3, 2, 10 reps. There's halfway, 5 more. Nicely done. We are heading back into that lunge squat combo on the opposite side. When you're ready, put that weight at the chest, starting with that squat, then stepping back with the left leg for a lunge. There's 1. Keep that core strong, keep that chest open. There's your halfway point, 5 more. Last one here. Nicely done. Set that weight as, oh shit. Sorry guys, I lied. We have 1 more. My bad. Okay, done with those. Now we're heading down to the floor for our final set of single leg bridges on that leg we just worked. So left leg in the air, right leg is bridging. When you're ready, keeping that heel nice and close to your glutes, here we go. Make sure to keep that tailbone tucked under, spine stays nice and neutral, core is involved in the movement. As you can see, my back is staying nice and flat. I'm not arching whatsoever. All that work is coming from a lift in my lower body. Three more. And let that relax. That is it for tri-set number 2. Quick breather here, and then we are moving on to your superset, which we will repeat twice as well. Starting that superset with an alternating side lunge. Feet come nice and wide. I'm starting just with body weight here. We're going to drop as low as we can into one leg, trying to isolate one side at a time, alternating sides. We're doing 12 reps total here. There's 4. Really try to take your weight out of the opposite leg as you drop to one side. I like to start with body weight to make sure my form is as solid as possible here before I add any excess resistance. Keep that spine neutral, keep the abs in. Still aligning those joints here. Knees and toes. Almost through. And let that relax, heading into a double pulse ski squat. Feet are hip width apart. We're gonna drop straight down into that ski squat, knees going straight over the toes. 2 pulses at the bottom before you drive back up. Keep the chest open, keep the weight in the heels. 4 more. Getting as low as you can with good form. If this is hurting your knees, adjust and go back to a standard squat. Oops, I lied, we're doing 12. Sorry, guys. This is your last one here. All right, little breather, and we'll repeat that superset again. All right, getting ready to go back into those alternating side lunges. I'm gonna grab a little bit of weight for this round. Again, feet are nice and wide. When you're ready, here we go, 12 more reps. Really take your time here. Again, focus on that isolation of each side, really dropping your weight into the heel of the working leg. Pulling in that core as you stand up. Two more reps here. Nice, okay, heading into our final set of those ski squats. Quick little breather. Actually, you know what? I am gonna use some weight for this second round as well. Last 12 reps, here we go. Again, really send those knees forward over the toes. They can go a little bit out to the left and right as long as they're not coming towards each other. Sitting way back in those heels. Almost through, just a few more reps. This is your final superset. Then we just have 1 round of bridges before we head into your cool down. All right, set that weight aside. We're gonna head straight down to the floor for a standard glute bridge, 20 reps to finish out this workout. So coming down to the floor, once again, bring those heels in nice and close to your glutes. Inhale first and exhale as you drive those hips up to the ceiling. There's 5. Don't forget to brace that core. Halfway there, final 10 reps of work. Last 3. And hold that final rep at the top just for a few seconds. Get one more good squeeze in before you slowly lower back down. All right, heading right into a cool down and stretch. We're going to start by hugging the knees into the chest and releasing through the lower back. Keep those nice deep breaths moving. Next, we'll bring our palms to our kneecaps and let the weight of your legs hang off your arms here. So let the arms fully extend. Let the tailbone naturally roll down towards the floor. Getting a nice stretch through the lower back here, a little release. Next, we'll bring the right ankle over the left knee and reach behind the left hamstrings for a deep hip and glute stretch. Pulling that left knee in towards your chest. Switch sides, same thing on the opposite leg. Left ankle over right knee. Perfect. Now we'll reach for the outer arches of both feet and kick up into your hands as you pull the shoulders back and roll the tailbone down to the floor for a happy baby pose. Opening through the hips here. Pulling up to a seat, we'll move into a butterfly stretch next. Bring the soles of the feet together and pull them in towards you as you gently push the knees down with your elbows and lean forward. Deep breaths in through the nose and long breaths out through the mouth. Now making your way to your feet for a standing quad stretch. Bend one leg, grab that foot or ankle and pull it in towards your glutes as you gently push the hips forward. Really pull up on that foot as you imagine you're trying to push that knee down into the floor. Switch sides. Finishing with a forward fold, we'll drop the chin to the chest and let the weight of your head roll you all the way down into a fold. Clasping opposite elbows, keep the knees soft and release through the lower back. Let the core go and take a few final deep breaths. Stretching through the hamstrings here as well. And then we'll slowly roll back up to the top. All right, everybody, that is your express strength workout focused on the glutes. See you next time. Take care.